Well, typically we think of the Empire's military might as what kept them an unchallenged galactic force outside of the Rebellion, able to easily crush any opposition that may come from the other smaller states of the galaxy, like the Hapes Consortium, if the need arose. A less talked about element of the Empire's foreign policy are the deals made between Palpatine and some of these other smaller states. On both the less evil and less grounded end of the spectrum, we have things like the public speculation of an affair between Emperor Palpatine and the Queen Mother of the reclusive Hapens, who we've spoken about in a prior video. The situation between the Empire and the Ssi-Ruuvi Imperium, though, a saurian species from a nearby star cluster, was far more sinister. The Ssi-Ruuvi had explored parts of the known galaxy for millennia, though they usually kept their interest to the unknown regions. In the decades leading up to the Empire, colonization had extended towards their edge of space, however. To the Ssi-Ruuvi, this was eventually seen as an opportunity. Ssi-Ruuvi powered their technology through a process called entechment, where the life force of a being was drained and converted to energy. Outside of being able to expand and conquer other civilizations, they typically had to rely on a similar species from their homeworld of Lek, the smaller Pwek species, who they traditionally entect at the age of 15. Humans were originally not seen as worthy of the honor of enteching, but when the Ssi-Ruuvi learned that humans were far more efficient sources of entechment energy than they had access to before, humans quickly went from being seen as unworthy to their colonies being seen as a source of walking, talking batteries. In the years before the Battle of Yavin, the Ssi-Ruuvi began to raid these outer colonies of the Empire. In 2 BBY, or years before the Battle of Yavin, a colony world of Chandrila named Grow was taken, and along with it a Force-sensitive boy named Dev Sibwara, who became like a pet to the Ssi-Ruuvi and used his talents to help calm some of the other beings being enteched. Initially, the Imperials went to investigate what was happening on these worlds, but as reports returned to Coruscant of the technology being used, Palpatine became intrigued. It was theorized later that Palpatine reached out to the Ssi-Ruuvi's leader, His Potency the Shriftut, while in Force meditation. Whatever the method of contact, the Empire struck a bargain with the conquering dinosaurs. They would be allowed to take over and harvest several outlying worlds, in exchange for Palpatine being able to access some of their technology, including things like battle droids. The Ssi-Ruuvi began conquering other worlds, with the Empire covering up the attacks. It's unclear if the Grow attack mentioned earlier was before or after the agreement, however it was covered up by claiming the colony had been wiped out by a rebel assault. In one of the first examples we know for sure was after the agreement, the Ssi-Ruuvi were given the planet Bekinos, where the Empire claimed a supply ship, named Ambitious, had simply crashed and wiped out the entire colony. 2 years after Yavin, the Ssi-Ruuvi were also given a planet named Kamia in the Drin system, which the Empire claimed had been devastated by a mysterious virus, quarantining it. Another planet, Katamaskar, is known to have fallen to the Ssi-Ruuvi in this period as well, though we have fewer details of what went on there. The Ssi-Ruuvi's advance would finish soon after Endor, when one of their fleets arrived at the repulsor lift manufacturing planet of Bakura. Bakura, while not being a major planet, was definitely higher profile than some of the earlier targets, so it's possible they were beginning to overstep the bounds of their agreement with Palpatine. With Palpatine dead and the fleet in disarray, it was the rebellion who responded to their call for aid. The Ssi-Ruuvi fleet under the command of Admiral Ivpicus was driven back, ending their secret bargain with Palpatine and beginning a long campaign by the New Republic into the heart of Ssi-Ruuvi territory, unknowingly assisted by forces from the Chiss Ascendancy or Empire of the Hand, who'd been fighting the Ssi-Ruuvi on their opposite flank for years already. That's going to do it for today's video. If you've enjoyed, consider leaving a like or subscribing for more. If there's another topic you'd like to see me cover in the future, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.